Hey, my fellow fiends. Before we get started with my spooky screenings on Zach Cregger's movie Weapons, I wanted to take this time to do a tribute to a friend who unfortunately passed away. His name was Peter Marsden. And he was somebody that connected with me, I'm going to say, during the pandemic. I remember his comments being on a lot of my videos that year. I was really trying to do a lot of content because everybody was, we were all scared, we were all depressed, we were all forced to stay home. And I was doing a lot of different, movie concepts, and, I was doing like series, and I was doing, my BoogeyMan break time stuff where it's not all horror. Since there was no new movies coming out, I was doing a lot of best werewolf films, and I was doing, like maybe my top 10 Anthony Perkins films. Those are some of the ones I was doing, but I was also going through a lot of anxiety and depression at that time, and it really carried over into 2021 when I really spiraled. Peter was one of those guys that really got me through what happened during the pandemic. He was somebody that always gave me pep talks. He was always somebody that just made me feel good about myself and made me feel good about the work I was doing here on the channel. Last time I had heard anything from him was the 14th of June last year in 2024. Between August of last year and early June of this year, I reached out to him about 4 times through Instagram, and I didn't hear anything. And I feared the worst, didn't know what was going on. And then on the 27th of July, I heard from his daughter, Sharon, who reached out to me and told me that he had passed away after a short illness. And it really broke my heart. I also heard from Peter's other daughter, Lolly. I heard from her at the beginning of August, like August 4th. She told me that her father had passed on the love of horror to them, and that he would share my videos with her. He was a good guy. He was a good friend. He was someone I didn't know. I never met him personally, but we had talked so many times through the YouTube channel, through the videos here on the Horror Zone channel, and through my BoogeyMan Ben Instagram page, that I felt like he was somebody that I had in my life for a lot longer than I did. And back in 2022, December 2022, I did a requested video for Peter. He had always wanted me to watch Howard Hawks' Thing from Another World, which of course was the inspiration for the amazing John Carpenter remake from 1982 that I've talked about many times. This was my first time watching the film, and it was a film Peter saw when he was 8 years old, and he always loved it. And I was happy to do that requested video for him, and just really warmed my heart. And much like when I met Noah Fleck and talked to his dad Jeff through FaceTime at Crystal Lake Nightmares, I'm always floored by when people tell me how much what I do means to them, because I don't see it that way. And especially the last few months where I've really just been low, really just getting over this sadness I've been going through because of personal things. It really just makes me want to continue doing what I'm doing. So I wanted to make sure that I paid a tribute to Peter and thank him for getting me through those times during the pandemic. He was an amazing, amazing motivator. He always made me feel good about myself, and my heart goes out to his family, to his daughters, Lolly and Sharon, and your families who are going through this heartbreaking loss of your father. Thank you so much for letting me know. Thank you so much for just being so kind and reaching out to me and letting me know about him and what had happened. I'm grateful that I had him in my life for the small time that I did, because he really made a huge difference. And even though I wasn't able to talk to him during my dark times recently, I've always had his spirit in the back of my head, kind of like his voice sort of guiding me as I recover from whatever the hell I went through these last few months, where I finally am starting to feel like my old boogeyman self again. So just wanted to make sure I paid a special tribute to him. I will include a link down below to that requested video for Howard Hawks' Thing from Another World that I did for him almost 3 years ago, which is pretty crazy. So just wanted to do that before we get into what this actual video is about. And thank you so much everyone for watching. And now we're on to my spooky screenings for the movie Weapons. So here we go.
BoogeyMan band coming round the bend. Is BoogeyMan band. Is BoogeyMan band.
So Philip Fret Fiends, thanks so much for stopping by the Horror Zone channel. I hope everyone's doing well. And this is a spooky screenings. This is a spooky screenings on a movie that's been out for a while now. This movie actually came out on August the 8th. I'm recording this video on August the 31st. So I'm very late to the party on this one. When this movie came out, I was actually heading down to Los Angeles with my friend John Russell for Crystal Lake Nightmares, the Friday the 13th 45th anniversary convention that I've done some extensive coverage on. I still have one video from that convention I want to do, and probably going to do it later in September. But I've been wanting to see this movie for a long time. Zach Krieger, who I'm a huge fan of, especially his film Barbarian, which came out in 2022. That film was my favorite film of 2022. I absolutely love it. It was a sleeper hit, and I was really curious to see what this new movie would be like. I've heard some mixed from people that I really value their opinions on. There's some people that really have loved it. There's some people that really had sort of been confused by the way that the narrative was told. So I didn't know what I was walking into, and much like Barbarian, I wanted to go into this movie green. I didn't really want to know much about it. I knew the basic premise, but other than that, I didn't really know a lot about, you know, what this movie was going to be, how it was going to play out. I sort of am getting to that point where I just like to be surprised by things. I love original story ideas and concepts. And this afternoon, my wife and I went and saw the film. We went to see it at 1:20, and I'm going to keep this completely spoiler-free. I know the movie's been out for almost a month now, but I think people should go into this movie not knowing a lot about it, just like I did. I'm really excited to finally get to tell everyone what I thought of Zach Krieger's follow-up to Barbarian. When all but one child from the same class mysteriously vanished on the same night at exactly the same time, a community is left questioning who or what is behind their disappearance. Movie stars Julia Garner as Justine, Josh Brolin as Archer, Alden Ehrenreich as Paul, Christopher as Alex, Benedict Wong as Marcus, Austin Abrams as James, and Amy Madigan as Gladys. The movie was written and directed by Zach Krieger. So what did I think of Weapons? Was it a worthy follow-up to Barbarian, which I said was my favorite film of 2022 and is still a film that I praise to everyone that asked me about it. I didn't do a review of it that year because I saw it kind of late, but I did put it in my year-end video singing its praises, and that movie still gets me. And I really love that that film is sort of set up one way and then it goes a completely different direction after the first act. I really didn't know where the film was going to go from there, and I like when a filmmaker can sort of spin things, like make you think you're going into one thing and then sort of shifting gears on you, and you're just along for the ride at that point. You don't know what to expect at that point. I didn't see some of the latter trailers that came out right before the film's release, but those initial trailers with the kids running through the neighborhoods at night really was eerie, and I was really curious to see what this movie was going to be about. I love Julia Garner. I've sang her praises in Wolfman, which I really enjoyed, and I was a big fan of hers from the show Ozark. I thought she was terrific as the Silver Surfer in the new Fantastic Four film. Josh Brolin's always been somebody that I'm kind of like this with. I'm not a huge fan of him. I don't dislike the guy, but I was really surprised by how great he was in this film. Benedict Wong, again, it was kind of funny having three actors that have been in Marvel movies be in this film, and it was a very different role for Benedict Wong than I'm used to seeing, but really enjoy seeing him in this film as well. Amy Madigan, I'm familiar with. She's been in a lot of films. The first film I remember loving her in was Uncle Buck, because I was a kid when that movie came out. Yeah, I was really floored by this film. You know, it's been several hours since I saw it, and I can't get it out of my head. I think the the way that this story is comprised and the way that it's executed is brilliant, and it's got a lot of it's not a straightforward horror film, and I've heard that from some people, and I'm not trying to really ruin anything for people, but it is told in a very different way. And if you're going into this thinking it's going to be just a straightforward scary film, it's much more methodical than that. And I really like the way that it was structured. I really like the way that Zach Cregger told this story about this community that's in mourning for these children that have gone missing and nobody knows what happened to them, and how they turn on each other, specifically on Julia Garner's character of Justine, who was the teacher for these kids. All of the kids were from her class, so everybody thinks she had something to do with the disappearance. But where this story goes is, again, I keep going back and saying Barbarian threw me for a loop. This one did too, because I had no idea what was going on. And you might see little things that'll kind of give you clues as to where it's going, but it ends in a way that it wasn't anything that I truly expected at the beginning of this film. I had no idea how this was going to play out, and the way that it ends really put a smile on my face and really just made me appreciate filmmakers like Cregger, who can tell a great story, an original story, and make something that's compelling, that's not a remake, it's something new, it's something that we can digest as moviegoers, and have a sense of appreciation of a storyteller that takes pride in his audience, trusting his audience that they will accept something that's new. I love filmmakers like him. I just really feel like there's just this amazing breadth of original storytellers that we have now. We have him, we have Robert Eggers, we have Ari Aster, we have Nia DaCosta, we have Parker Finn, just some amazing storytellers that just amazing people that are giving us something new, something we, especially as horror lovers of the horror genre, are craving. We're tired of seeing the same things over and over again. And this movie had a very small budget, a $38 million budget for this film. As of now, it's made $134+ million here in the States and $100 million overseas. That's gigantic for an original story, an original concept. I'm so grateful that this movie is doing so well, because it opens up the door for more original concepts, for filmmakers to get different ideas and different styles of movies onto the screen for fans like me to enjoy. And it just makes me very happy for Zach Cregger. I can't wait to see what he does next. Absolutely, this film is one of my favorite films of the year. I cannot wait to watch it again. I definitely recommend people go into it, like I said, go into it knowing as little about it as possible. And you might like it, you might not like it, but at least you have to take, you just have to appreciate that Zach Cregger is trying to do something different and go outside of the lines with this story. As we saw with Sinners, people are hungry for original concepts. And just like Ryan Coogler did, Zach Cregger did with this film. And I'm so grateful that it has been so successful. See it in the theater. Go in with as little information about it outside of just the initial plot of what the film is dealing with, but you'll be taken on a ride, that's for sure. You might like it, you might not, but you have to give credit to this filmmaker for trying something that's a little bit outside of the box of what most studios are greenlighting nowadays. So yes, absolutely love Weapons, one of my favorite films of the year, one of my favorite horror films. Absolutely loved it, and I'm curious what other people think about the film. I know it's been out for a while, but please share your thoughts down in the comments section below. Would love to hear from everyone. And as always, thanks so much for stopping by the Horror Zone channel. I hope everyone's doing well. Talk to you again real soon. Take it easy. Stay scared as always.